All right, folks, only about 24 hours after the historical ruling from Judge Torres yesterday, we have Ripple meeting with the White House once again. Now, this comes as no surprise. I think that we can add this to digital asset investors, all the world's a stage file, because we've seen this time and time again. And of course, Ripple, no stranger to this administration, to the previous administration. They're playing both sides and they're perfectly positioned for not only this coming bull run, but to be a lender of last resort for this liquidity crisis. And I'm going to speak to that as far as the role of their stablecoin and the role that XRP is going to play, having clarity, additional utility, and the role more focused on cross-border payments and liquidity coming from the XRP ledger. Let's talk about it, folks. We see the markets have been moving back up today. This is for the broader cryptocurrency space, the stock market, even gold and silver. It all was up today because we got good jobs numbers. Let's take a look at it. Front page of Bloomberg right here. Stocks rebound as jobs data calms market jitters, markets wrap. This was the best session for the S&P 500 since November 2022. Now, the reason why we're getting this seesaw action is because of the volatility that's been brought in this week from the Bank of Japan, and this sent shockwaves throughout the markets, and this was the financial markets. But now we get some relatively good economic data coming out, which was the jobless claims. They were lower than expectations, but this is what everybody's missing, is that although the initial jobless claims came in lower than expectations, they're still higher than the average earlier this year and last year. And the SOM rule, as we know, is also in effect as well. So we got here on Market Watch, the Fed rate cut fervor is gripping Wall Street again. That could set up markets for another trap. Everyone thinks rate cuts are a magic elixir, notes Northwestern Mutual's Brent Schutt. So the markets are incorrectly thinking that this Fed rate cut is going to save the day. One, they think, and they've been begging for an emergency rate cut. When the carry trade started to unwind on Monday and the ripple effect started to happen, everybody's in full panic mode. And you had the talking head pundits coming to CNBC saying that we need emergency rate cuts, right? Well, not only are there not going to be emergency rate cuts over the stock market, the Fed doesn't care if the stock market comes down a little bit. They're concerned about keeping inflation in control. They're concerned about keeping the unemployment rate down. And that is the two objectives, the two mandates that the Fed holds. If the stock portfolios come down a little bit, that's not their issue. You know, and obviously it is a concern, but it's not their mandate. And they're not going to come in and do a Fed emergency rate cut based off of a little bit of stock market jitters, right? That would only signal more weakness and that they are behind the ball, which is not what they want. Now, the problem is if we don't get that Fed rate cut in September, then the markets are going to have some real reckoning dealing with that one. And so, as I said, the jobless claims sink to 233,000, and this is coming down from a one-year high. So now everybody thinks everything's okay. Everything's okay. We were at a one-year high for jobless claims last month at 250,000, and we come back down to 233, which is below expectations, and now everybody thinks everything's okay. No. The average was in the lower than 220,000 was the average, and so we're above the average. The SOM rule is in effect, which says if the unemployment rate ticks up by more than 0.5% on the 3-month average over the past year, then you're already in a recession. So according to the jobs numbers, we're already in a recession. According to the earnings, we're already in a recession. But we get these little, economic data points that come out, and it's like everybody forgets what just happened. And so if we take a look here at the markets, this is the activity and the volatility that's really kicked in. Bitcoin back up to 61,000. It pumped all the way up, actually, to 62,700. It's cooled off here slightly, but a massive green candle coming in for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's loving it. Ethereum's loving it up to 2,680. And XRP already made its move. It's just chilling now at 61.5 cents. It did go all the way back up to 64.5. We need to break this. This is the main resistance right now for XRP. And I understand nobody wants to have patience after we've waited 4 years for this lawsuit to end, and we want XRP to go now. But please understand that we are just in the early beginnings of XRP being set free, and there still is the potential for appeals. There still is the potential for this case to actually go on. We can't say that this case is done and over with and the conclusion has happened when we definitely have appeals. But more on that later. We see that the market was just chopping, and this was in the cryptocurrency space. It also came in for a massive green candle for gold back above 2,400. And this is what I've been saying about these, opportunities to buy these assets that we like. Now, the talking head pundits are on CNBC, and I was listening to them today explain that they're buying the dip. It was down 10%. They're buying that dip. And they're asking them, well, what if it dips another 10, 15%? Well, then you miss that opportunity, but I'm still buying. And so basically everybody on Wall Street's still running with the mantra that this is just a dip. This is nothing to worry about. And we're going to recover from here. I beg to differ when it comes to the stock market, but when it comes to these precious metals, these are assets, once again, that we see the dynamics from a fundamental basis that do justify a higher price. Now, gold and silver are not invincible, and we've warned about the recession concerns, and if the global margin call continues, folks are going to have to sell off gold. They're selling off physical gold. They're selling off the paper gold, and this is where you're seeing those with the cash, those with liquidity, they're stockpiling physical gold at a record that we haven't seen in 50 plus years, and they're taking it off the market, and this is, once again, why I'm taking advantage of the dips on these assets in particular. Now, also silver back above $27.50 today. Nice little green candle there for silver. But for the stock market, it was the same thing. And this is the seesaw that I'm talking about. So on Monday, we open up, we clear it out, and this completes a move for the Dow Jones that was about 7%. But then the next day on Tuesday, we're back up. Wednesday, we're back down. And here we are on Thursday, back up with a massive green candle. Best day for the S&P 500 since November of 2022. Now, we were down about 10% for the S&P 500. Same thing, chopping back and forth. This is the seesaw, going for a little ride. NASDAQ 100, same thing. And so this is volatility coming in right now that's going to shake up a lot of people. This is why I stay with my cash. This is why I continue when the dips do come on the assets that I can fundamentally justify the valuations. Then I'm scooping up. I'm not buying stocks. I'm not buying the S&P 500. I'm not pretending that everything's okay for this stock market. For these digital assets that have utility with no counterparty risk in limited supply, I'm scooping the dip. For precious metals, they're in that bucket. I'm scooping the dip. And by the way, if you guys are looking to get precious metals, you already know the deal. It's at ZachRector.com. Just hit the precious metals tab and let us know if you want it delivered to your door or if you want to roll over a 401k retirement account. Now, global margin call underway. Crypto is no stranger to that. The crypto margin call started back in 2022 with FTX and Luna, and it is not over yet. What we have here today, it finally happened, and this was shared by Row Rider on X. The Fed has issued enforcement action against the Community Bank. That's what this is. This is Customers Bank is what it's called. CUBI. And he says criminal crypto bank. I'm not ready to make that assertion, but that's what he's saying. Primarily for AML, which is anti-money laundering failures with their CBIT money laundering network. This was a token that they created that allowed real-time deposits and settlement and real-time settlement. Calls it a money laundering network. Now, I'm not ready to pin that down on them. But this is one of the last remaining U.S. crypto banks, and this could be a problem because everybody left Silvergate, right? When Silvergate collapsed back in March of last year, and that started the banking crisis, that was a huge problem. And now we're not done. Everybody moved on over to this bank, and now they're having issues over here with the Federal Reserve issuing them I don't know if it's not a lawsuit, but it's some sort of notice here. United States of America before the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System against Customers Bank Corp and Customers Bank out of Pennsylvania. So this is some notice that the Federal Reserve out of Philadelphia is issuing to them saying that you're going to have to do the following here. They give them 60 days and they have 6 different requirements that they need to come into: policies, procedures, risk management standards, including regular training to identify, assess, manage, and monitor risk exposures, which is just hilarious to me. It's like they're so worried about crypto. The BIS is saying that, banks can only have 1% of their tier 1 assets in cryptocurrency, right? They're so worried about the risk to crypto, but we know that we just experienced, the global margin call expressed through the Japan carry trade on Monday, was about to blow up the whole system. And they already came in with the backstop. They already had to come in, and the Federal Reserve said they're going to start to buy treasuries to the tune of nearly $50 billion. That's the backstop of the system. Just like in March of last year when they had to launch Bank Term Funding Program to backstop the system, Janet no-telling Yellen telling everybody, hey, if you're systemically important, we'll bail you out. If you're not, if you're a small regional bank that we don't care about, you will be sacrificed. Good luck, God bless. Have a happy life. That's what Janet Yellen said. And now here we are. The reverse carry trade starts to unwind. What's Japan and all these hedge funds going to have to do? Sell the treasuries. They're going to have to pay back the collateral on all this debt that they took out in Japanese yen. This is the reverse carry trade, the unwinding of the carry trade. And, it's absolutely hilarious that JP Morgan's coming out and saying that the Japan carry trade's 75% unwound. That's a bold-faced lie. Same JP Morgan that's saying that there's a 35% chance of recession. No, we're already in a jobs recession. No, we're already in an earnings recession. They might be able to paper over the GDP, but the economic data that we're looking at for the jobs already tells us the truth. The reports that we're getting on the earnings already tell us the truth. So you guys can keep on up with the lies all you want, but the market's already starting to call your bluff. Now the algorithms and everybody's already been trained to just buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And I'm buying the dip too. I've been dollar cost averaging too, but on the assets that I can justify from a fundamental perspective, from a technical perspective, and from a psychological perspective when folks start to wake up and realize what's happening over here with this XRP story, which is exactly what I wanted to get to. And as I titled this episode, Ripple heading back to the White House. Check it out here. This one reported from The Block. Crypto executives meet. And by the way, I want to finish up my last point on that. If this actually becomes an issue, this is just going to lead to the margin call, the liquidation, the over leverage, the unwind in the cryptocurrency space. So we'll see what happens with this community bank corp, what happens with them in the Fed. It's something to watch. I wanted to put it on your radar. More on that to come in the following weeks. Okay, but into this one right here. Crypto executives meeting with the White House officials to discuss policy grievances during virtual roundtable. So this includes U.S. Deputy Secretary of the Treasury Wally Adeyemo, National Economic Council Director Lael Brainerd, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Bruce Reed, and Vice President Kamala Harris, Director of Legislative Affairs Christine Lucius, attending the virtual meeting. Now, who is representing from the cryptocurrency space? The first ones listed, Ripple executives Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, along with Uniswap, which, by the way, they were served a Wells notice, weren't they, by the SEC? Their AMM over there in Ethereum looking like it's in trouble. Our AMM over on the XRP ledger in the clear, completely decentralized at the protocol level. But I digress. Stellar Development Foundation, Danelle Dixon, of course, another regular. And Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire, another regular. Mark Cuban, just terrible political takes from Mark Cuban. It's crazy how much these billionaires will waste fighting their political battles. But yeah, to each their own. Same thing with Anthony Scaramucci. Terrible takes when it comes to the politics. But hey, you can still manage to get rich and still be stupid. These guys are a great point and example right there. I digress. Coinbase Chief Legal Officer Paul Grewal also there. But the point being, guys, 24 hours after Ripple beats the SEC, they get a slap on the wrist fine. They get an injunction that's the weakest injunction that's ever been done in history, and basically have full clarity. And now they get to pull up to the White House and say, hey, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, we're done with the SEC case, if you guys haven't noticed that. And as long as the SEC wants to play fair with us, we're not going to appeal. We're good to go. Everything's fine. We can still grow our business, and we're very happy to do so. And by the way, if you want to learn how we're going to grow our business, we can show you this Ripple stablecoin that we're set to launch here in Q3 that's going to be key for you guys keeping and expanding U.S. dollar dominance. Just like your competitor, Donald Trump, said in his speech at Bitcoin Nashville, stablecoins will be key to expanding U.S. dollar dominance. If you guys want to get with the program, come have a sit down with us. If you want to launch a CBDC, which we know the Democrats want to do, we know Elizabeth Warren camp is all over the CBDC. If they had their way, we wouldn't get self-custody. We wouldn't be able to own or buy crypto, but we would have a CBDC. Ripple has a solution for that. But Ripple also has a solution for a stablecoin that would actually be backed by tier one assets, backed by real collateral in a standard custody trust company where Ripple doesn't have to rely on that community bank that I just mentioned is having a little bit of issues, little bit of issues with that community bank. Hey, if you need a crypto relationship in banking relationship in the United States, we got you covered. We got a trust company here that doesn't lend out against your deposit, so you don't have to worry. And so the Ripple is just perfectly positioned here. Less than 24 hours after the ruling, slap on the wrist from Judge Torres, they're already meeting with the White House. They're playing both sides of the aisle, which is the right thing to do. It's just politics is politics. They're doing the right thing. They're a company that wants to be able to expand, innovate, create, and hire and invest in the United States of America. And they're now going to be able to do so with full clarity. Now, I did want to share this one. Why has David and the team from Ripple been so quiet? He was asked this directly on Twitter, and David Schwartz says, there are a lot of things I want to say, and on most things, I just say them. But during the next 60 days, both sides will have some important decisions to make, and I'd hate for something I tweeted to affect that. And he even shows a little meme right here. In the back of my brain, some part of me is thinking that they could be deciding whether to appeal right now. Can you imagine the SEC watching the tweet? You know, it's funny because the SEC actually included tweets from Ripple executives and from XRP community members. They showed us in XRP Las Vegas. They showed us at the proper party saying that this was Ripple's disregard for the law. You know, these tweets offended the SEC. They showed no remorse. They're having too good of a time. And even the judge said, right, that this was very lucrative, what Ripple was doing. Right? Very, very lucrative. And so we come full circle, 4 years in this lawsuit. It's now done. It's over with. It looks like they're not going to appeal, but you guys let me know in the comments down below what you think, what the vibe is on appeal. What are you guys picking up? Let me know in the comments down below. But regardless, Ripple, perfectly positioned. Brad and Chris meeting with the executives and the team there at the White House. They're playing both sides, perfectly positioned. And this stablecoin is going to be key. Please understand, within the United States, you don't need cross-border. You don't need the bridge currency, right? If you're just moving within the borders of the US in US dollar transactions, you don't need a XRP. But you could use a US dollar stablecoin issued on the XRP ledger. That's what's coming. And that's where we start to get some of that liquidity on the XRP ledger. Even though it's a transaction where you don't need XRP as a bridge currency, you use XRP when you're using the XRP ledger through Ripple's stable coin. So yes, XRP is still needed. Yes, XRP will still be used. Now for the cross-border payments, for the on-demand liquidity, for the bridge currency from one asset B to asset C, that's where XRP is going to come in. And that's the key difference that we need to understand. This is where Ripple is perfectly positioned as a strategic partner, and XRP is perfectly positioned as the strategic asset. And the US dollar stablecoin issued by Ripple is going to be one of many, which will help the US dollar keep and expand the dominance. It's a move that must be made, and you're starting to see politicians from both sides of the aisle basically bow down and kiss the ring of Ripple and some of the top executives in the cryptocurrency space that are making waves, getting it done, defeating the SEC, and nothing can stop what is coming. I hope that you guys appreciate this update. You guys let me know the vibe check on the appeal on this XRP pump. We're watching to see, we need to break 64 cents. If we break 64, we're going to be straight up to 70 cents and beyond. And so it's something to watch closely. We're going to be watching this market. It's getting shaken up, a little bit of volatility, but at least it's exciting. We can't say that it's not boring. We can't say that, we're done with the excitement. We're just getting started with the excitement. We're just getting started with the pump. I hope you guys hang around for more. If you appreciate what we're doing, make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure you like this video and help me out by sharing out the content far and wide, and I'd greatly appreciate it. God bless you all. Thank you so much. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.